Today, our story takes us just north of the town of Falcon Lake. Falcon Lake is located in the Whiteshell Provincial Park in southeastern Manitoba, Canada. The lake is about 152 kilometers east of Winnipeg on the Trans-Canada Highway, near the Ontario border. It was on May 20, 1967, that Stefan Michalak, an industrial mechanic, was out prospecting in the hills. It was a tiring day, and Stefan stopped for a rest. At that point, he noticed two cigar-shaped objects with humps in the middle, around 150 feet away from where he was resting. Stefan looked at the objects, confused, and tried to decipher what sort of craft he was looking at. He couldn't see any markings on the craft, and appeared to be completely smooth. After a few minutes, one of the crafts landed in a nearby rocky outcrop, while the other hovered above for a while longer. Stefan, fascinated about what he saw, pulled out his work notepad and pencil and began to sketch what he was looking at. After he finished his sketch, he walked over to try and get a closer look at the mysterious crafts. Upon further inspection, he was in amazement about how smooth the crafts were. No signs of seams or welding were evident. It was around 34 feet in length and 15 feet in height. The landed craft also changed colour between grey and red, and resembled a hot stainless steel with a golden glow emanating around the centre. Stefan recalled the scent of sulphur and warm air emitted by the craft, and hearing the sounds of a whirling motor, as well as a hissing sound from air being expelled. According to Stefan, he noticed that the craft had an open door on the side and had many bright lights within. From within the craft, he could hear the voices of beings which were muffled by the sounds produced by the craft. Stefan then attempted to communicate with the people on board the ships in English, Polish, Russian, and German. The voices that initially were coming from within the craft then suddenly stopped. Stefan continued to interact with the craft despite the lack of response and approached it. Because the UFO was so bright, he equipped a pair of welding goggles as protection. He touched the craft's outer surface and found it too hot to leave his hand on. Because the light coming from the craft was so bright, he decided to take a few steps back. The craft then turned counterclockwise, revealing a panel with a grid of holes that emitted a blast of heated gas that hit him in the chest, blew him back, and set fire to his clothing. Stefan says he immediately tore the burning clothing off as the craft flew away. In shock and pain, Stefan headed back towards his car. He was nauseous and vomited several times. Disorientated, he checked his compass, trying to find his way southeast to the road, but the needle was flicking in random directions. Stefan made his best guess at the right direction, and 9 hours later he arrived at the Falcon Motor Hotel. A nearby highway patrol officer from the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, Constable G.A. Solokty, who saw Stefan and his ripped clothing, assumed he was drunk, but did not smell alcohol on Stefan. Stefan then rested and phoned his wife, telling her that an accident had occurred. When his family saw him, they were in total panic, as they could clearly see how hurt Stefan was. Stefan's torso was covered in a grid-like pattern of inflamed sores from his burns. Stefan continued to have spells of diarrhea, migraines, blackouts, and weight loss, eventually seeking treatment at the Mayo Clinic. Stefan was cognitively well, and his physical state after the incident was consistent with radiation poisoning. Stefan is said to have lost 13 pounds or 10 kilograms as a result of the incident. Stefan's burns would disappear and reappear on and off throughout his life, and their effects would never totally subside by the time he died in 1999. Stefan and a friend went hunting for the location 6 weeks after the event. they discovered a burnt-out circle the same size of the ship Stefan had observed after several hours. It measured more than 30 feet in length. Within days, a team of US experts, together with the Royal Canadian Air Force, arrived on the scene. Measurements were taken, soil samples were catalogued, and radiation levels were examined. The levels appeared to be rather high, so the health department contemplated putting the area under quarantine. Stefan had domestic difficulties as a result of the upheaval surrounding the incident, with his wife, Maria, unable to help him after the horrific event. Members of the public continued to abuse Stefan and his family, with Stefan's son, Stan, being bullied at school. So that's it for today. Let me know what you think about this case. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.